When you claim to stand for justice and equality and humanity, but choose to deny the realities that are, inconvenient, you can't claim to be making a moral argument. When you talk about peace in the Middle East, but forget the multiple times since 1937 the Palestinian leadership has rejected peace offers, you're absolving their responsibility. Nothing has changed. The Palestinian president today incites and glorifies indiscriminate killing of civilians and rewards cold-blooded killers with hefty salaries. You can't talk about violence between the Israelis and the Palestinians and not take that into consideration. You can't disregard thousands of rockets that are shot at civilian centers in Israel, nor can you ignore the fact that Palestinian children died in Gaza while digging tunnels for Hamas, so that Hamas can sneak into Israeli neighborhoods and kill Israeli children. If you want to talk about violence, you cannot ignore action and consequences. How can you talk about human rights, yet fail to mention human shields in Gaza? A child in Gaza is 100% at the mercy of Hamas and their ideology. Hamas can store or fire missiles from this child's school or home. Hamas can use this child's body to defend their terrorist operations. Can you really have a conversation about human rights and sidestep that? Forget that Palestinian civilians are actually oppressed by Hamas, as well as by the profoundly corrupt Palestinian Authority? You can't talk about racism and ignore that Hamas calls for genocide against Jews. It's in their charter, their founding document. You can't miss it. Nor can you ignore the fact that Hamas has profited from the sale of African slaves in the Sinai. How can you talk about racism and take no notice of President Mahmoud Abbas's statement that Jews praying on Temple Mount defile it with their filthy feet? There can be no honest discussion about justice if it continues to evade the total rejection of Jewish self-determination that is expressed by BDS. You can't call for self-determination for one side and for the stripping of self-determination from the other side at the same time and call this justice. This is selective justice. And selective justice is no justice at all. This is a deceptive attempt to hide the actual hateful agenda of BDS and the Palestinian leadership, which is contrary to the values they say they're promoting.